The quantum particle accelerator hummed beneath Athena Rodriguez's fingertips as she made final adjustments to her experimental device. The underground laboratory at MIT buzzed with energy, both from the machinery and her own anticipation. After 3 years of research, countless failures, and one nearly catastrophic explosion, she was finally ready to test her theory about quantum tunneling between parallel spaces. "Just a few more calibrations," she muttered, her dark curls falling forward as she leaned over the control panel. The surrounding monitors displayed a dizzying array of equations and energy readings that would have been incomprehensible to anyone but her. At 32, Dr. Athena Rodriguez was already considered one of Earth's leading quantum physicists, though her more recent theories about spacetime manipulation had been dismissed as too radical by many of her peers. The device before her, roughly the size of a microwave oven, contained a perfectly engineered crystal matrix that she believed could create a stable quantum tunnel. If she was right, it could revolutionize human understanding of spacetime. If she was wrong, well, the worst that could happen was another small explosion and more ridicule from the scientific community. As she initiated the power sequence, the crystal began to pulse with an otherworldly blue light. Athena's heart raced as she watched the energy readings climb steadily. Everything was proceeding exactly as calculated. The crystal's resonance frequency matched her theoretical predictions perfectly. Then something went wrong. The blue light suddenly intensified, becoming almost blindingly bright. The energy readings spiked far beyond her calculations, and the air around the device began to shimmer like heat waves rising from hot pavement. No, 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 Athena frantically tried to shut down the power supply, but the crystal had become self-sustaining. The shimmering air began to coalesce into what appeared to be a swirling vortex of light. Papers flew around the laboratory as air rushed toward the anomaly. Athena knew she should run, but her scientific curiosity kept her rooted in place as she watched the impossible phenomenon before her. The vortex expanded rapidly, its edges reaching out like tendrils of light. Before she could react, one of these tendrils wrapped around her waist. The last thing she saw was her laboratory dissolving into a tunnel of swirling light and color. When Athena regained consciousness, she found herself lying on a smooth, metallic floor that definitely wasn't her laboratory. The air smelled different, cleaner somehow, with a slight floral undertone she didn't recognize. As her vision cleared, she realized she was surrounded by technology unlike anything she'd ever seen. Sleek, curved surfaces gleamed with an inner light, and holographic displays floated in the air without any visible projectors. "Are you all right?" a deep, melodious voice asked from behind her. Athena turned and found herself staring into the most remarkable eyes she'd ever seen. They were a striking violet color with subtle patterns that seemed to shift like auroras in the night sky. Those eyes belonged to a tall, humanoid figure with silvery skin that had a subtle, iridescent quality. His features were sharp and elegant, with high cheekbones and a strong jaw. Despite his alien appearance, he was undeniably handsome. Where am I?" Athena managed to ask, her scientific mind already racing to process everything she was seeing. "You're aboard the Viridian station," he replied, extending a hand to help her up. "I'm Prince Talon of Celestia." "And you are?" "Dr. Athena Rodriguez," she answered automatically, taking his hand. A slight tingle passed through her arm at the contact. "Did you say station? As in, space station?" Talon's expression showed concern. "Yes, of course. The largest trading hub in the Celestian Empire. How did you get here?" "Our sensors detected an unusual quantum disturbance, and then you appeared." Athena's mind reeled. Her experiment hadn't just created a quantum tunnel, it had somehow transported her to what appeared to be an alien space station. The implications were staggering. "My experiment," she explained, her excitement overtaking her shock. "I was working on quantum tunneling technology. It seems the results were more successful than anticipated, just not in the way I expected." Talon's aurora eyes widened. You created quantum tunneling technology? But Earth isn't supposed to have that capability for at least another century. Earth? Athena's heart skipped a beat. You know about Earth? Of course. We've been observing your planet for some time, waiting for your civilization to reach the appropriate technological level for contact. Though it seems you've accelerated that timeline considerably. His lips curved into an intriguing smile. Over the next few hours, Talon showed Athena around the station, explaining the basics of Celestian technology and culture. She learned that his people were an ancient race who had achieved interstellar travel millennia ago, and now served as guardians and guides for emerging civilizations like Earth. As they talked, Athena couldn't help but notice the way Talon looked at her, with a mixture of fascination and something deeper. She found herself equally drawn to him, not just for his exotic appearance, but for his brilliant mind and genuine interest in her work. Their discussion of quantum mechanics led to shared meals in the station's observatory, watching stars neither of them had seen before. Days turned into weeks as Athena worked with Celestian scientists to understand how her experiment had achieved what their own technology took centuries to perfect. But it wasn't all scientific discovery. In quiet moments between research sessions, Athena and Talon grew closer. He taught her about the music of the stars, songs created by converting stellar frequencies into sound. She told him about Earth's oceans, which Celestia lacked, and promised to take him swimming someday. Their first kiss happened beneath a holographic display of a supernova, its colors pale in comparison to the electricity between them. Neither of them planned for things to progress so quickly, but their connection was undeniable. In Talon, Athena found someone who understood both her brilliant mind and her passionate heart. In her, Talon discovered a spirit as vast as the universe he had spent his life exploring. 1 month after her accidental arrival on Viridian Station, Athena woke up feeling strange. The station's medical AI confirmed what she had already begun to suspect: she was pregnant. The first human Celestian hybrid ever conceived. My parents will need to know, Talon said when she told him, his aurora eyes swirling with emotion. This changes everything. Will they accept it? Athena asked, her hand unconsciously moving to her stomach. Accept us? They'll have to, he replied, taking her hand. Because I'm not letting you go. Either of you. As their ship prepared to depart for Celestia, Athena looked out at the vast expanse of space. Her quantum experiment had done more than bridge physical space, it had bridged 2 hearts, 2 cultures, 2 worlds. Now she faced her greatest challenge yet, convincing the rulers of an advanced alien civilization that love knew no planetary bounds. The journey to Celestia would take 3 days. 3 days to prepare for a meeting that would determine not just their future, but potentially the future of human-Celestian relations. As the ship entered faster-than-light travel, Athena smiled. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them with the same determination that had driven her to push the boundaries of physics. After all, if she could break the laws of quantum mechanics, surely she could overcome the laws of an alien empire. The royal flagship Astral Dawn emerged from hyperspace above Celestia, and Athena's breath caught in her throat. The planet before her defied everything she knew about planetary formation. Massive crystalline structures floated in the lavender sky, their surfaces refracting starlight into rainbow cascades. The planet's 3 moons hung in perfect triangular formation, each glowing with a different ethereal color. Welcome to my home, Talon said softly, his hand resting on the small of her back. The touch sent familiar tingles through her body, but did little to calm her nerves. It's beautiful, she whispered, then added with a nervous laugh, and terrifying. The ship descended through layers of floating cities, each more magnificent than the last. The royal palace rose before them, a structure that seemed to be made of living crystal and light. It pulsed with an inner radiance that shifted colors like Talon's eyes, making Athena wonder if there was some connection between the Celestians' aurora-like eyes and their architecture. As they landed on a crystalline platform, Athena smoothed down her Earth clothes, a simple black dress she'd replicated on the station. Maybe I should have worn something more, alien? Talon smiled, the expression warming his otherworldly features. You look perfect. Remember, you're not just a visitor, you're carrying the heir to the Celestian throne. The reminder of her pregnancy made Athena's hand drift to her stomach. The medical scans had shown the baby was developing faster than a human fetus but slower than a Celestian one. Already, at just over a month, she could feel subtle changes in her body. The palace interior was even more spectacular than its exterior. Gravity seemed to be optional here, with floating gardens and waterfall-like cascades of light flowing in impossible directions. Celestian nobles floated or walked as they pleased, their iridescent skin shimmering in various metallic hues, silver like Talon, gold, copper, and even some with a platinum sheen. They were led to the throne room by guards whose armor seemed to be made of solidified starlight. The massive doors opened silently, revealing a vast chamber that appeared to contain a piece of space itself. Stars twinkled in the dark ceiling, and the floor rippled like the surface of a black hole. King Orion and Queen Asteria sat upon crystalline thrones that emerged seamlessly from the floor. The king's skin had a deep gold tone that seemed to radiate power, while the queen's platinum complexion gave her an ethereal beauty. Their aurora eyes, gold and silver respectively, fixed upon Athena with unreadable expressions. My son, King Orion's voice resonated through the chamber, explain yourself. Talon stepped forward, his posture straight and proud. Father, Mother, I present to you Dr. Athena Rodriguez of Earth. She is a quantum physicist who achieved breakthrough teleportation technology centuries ahead of Earth's projected development. And he paused, squeezing Athena's hand, she carries your grandchild. The announcement caused a wave of whispers among the gathered court. Queen Asteria's eyes widened, the patterns in them swirling faster. King Orion's face darkened to a burnished bronze. What Athena would later learn was the Celestian equivalent of turning red with anger. Impossible, he thundered. The genetic gap between our species is too vast. Our scientists have confirmed this countless times. Athena stepped forward, her scientific mind overtaking her fear. With all due respect, Your Majesty, the impossible seems to be my specialty. I have the medical scans to prove it. She projected the holographic data from a device Talon had given her. The images showed the hybrid fetus, its DNA a beautiful dance between human and Celestian genetics. The child's cells gleamed with the same iridescence as its father's race, while maintaining certain distinctly human characteristics. Fascinating, Queen Asteria spoke for the first time, rising from her throne to examine the projection more closely. The genetic merger appears stable. How did you overcome the compatibility issues? I didn't do anything deliberately, Athena admitted. But I have a theory. My work with quantum tunneling may have affected my own quantum signature at a cellular level, making me more compatible with Celestian biology. That's preposterous, spat a voice from the crowd. A Celestian noble with copper-toned skin stepped forward. Your Majesties, surely you can't accept this primitive Earth woman's claims. This must be some sort of deception. Lord Helios, Talon's voice carried a warning edge, choose your next words carefully. Before the situation could escalate, alarms began blaring throughout the palace. Holographic screens materialized, showing critical system failures in the crystal matrix that powered the floating cities. The harmonic resonance is collapsing, one of the royal engineers announced frantically. The cities will fall within hours if we can't stabilize it. Athena's eyes darted between the technical readouts, her mind already racing through calculations. Your crystal technology, it's based on quantum resonance, isn't it? King Orion nodded grimly. The same principles you used in your teleportation device. Without hesitation, Athena stepped up to the nearest control panel. I can help. This is exactly what my research focused on, stabilizing quantum fields through crystalline matrices. For the next 3 hours, Athena worked alongside Celestian engineers, applying her unique understanding of quantum mechanics to their ancient technology. Her recent experience with quantum tunneling provided insights that their traditional approaches had missed. As she worked, she felt the baby's presence more strongly than ever, as if their shared human Celestian nature was helping her bridge the gap between the two technologies. Finally, the crystal matrix stabilized, its resonance stronger than before. The floating cities were safe. Queen Asteria approached Athena, who was exhausted but triumphant. "It seems we owe you a debt, Dr. Rodriguez. You've saved millions of lives today." "I only did what anyone would do," Athena replied, leaning slightly against Talon for support. "No," King Orion joined them, his expression softened. "You did what only you could do. Perhaps." He glanced at his son, then back to Athena, "Perhaps this union is not as impossible as we first thought." "There's more," Queen Asteria said, her aurora eyes distant as if seeing something others couldn't. "The ancient prophecies speak of a bridge between stars, one who would merge two worlds and bring forth a new age. We always assumed it referred to diplomatic relations, but now..." She gestured to Athena's stomach, where the first human Celestian child grew, already defying the laws of both worlds. Lord Helios and his supporters looked on with barely concealed outrage, but they dared not speak against both the royal family and the prophecy. Athena knew their opposition was far from over, but for now, she had won a crucial victory. As she and Talon retired to their chambers that night, exhausted but relieved, Athena caught a glimpse of herself in a crystal wall. For a moment, she thought she saw a subtle iridescence to her skin, like the first hint of dawn breaking through darkness. She smiled, placing a hand on her stomach. Maybe the impossible wasn't so impossible after all. "You were amazing today," Talon murmured, pulling her close. "How do you feel?" "Like I'm living in a dream," she replied honestly. "But if it is a dream, I don't want to wake up." Outside their window, the 3 moons of Celestia aligned, bathing the crystal cities in tricolored light. Somewhere in the vast universe, Earth continued its solitary orbit, unaware that one of its daughters had just changed the course of 2 civilizations forever. But that was a concern for tomorrow. Tonight, in the arms of her alien prince, Dr. Athena Rodriguez, quantum physicist, expectant mother, and now possibly prophesied savior of Celestia, allowed herself to simply be a woman in love. The news broke on Earth like a thunderbolt from a clear sky. Amateur astronomers had captured images of crystalline structures appearing in high orbit, Celestian ships dropping out of stealth mode. After millennia of humanity wondering if they were alone in the universe, first contact had arrived in the most unexpected way, through a love story. Athena watched the Earth broadcasts from her chambers in the Crystal Palace, her hand resting on her now visible pregnancy bump. At 3 months, she was showing far more than a normal human pregnancy, her skin taking on an increasingly noticeable iridescent sheen. The hybrid child within her grew rapidly, its development closely monitored by both human and Celestian medical teams. "The United Nations Security Council is demanding immediate diplomatic contact," a news anchor reported. Meanwhile, religious leaders worldwide are grappling with the theological implications of human-alien hybridization. The broadcast cut off as Talon entered the room, his aurora eyes stormy with concern. "The Earth governments are not the only ones we need to worry about," he said, sitting beside her. "Lord Helios has called for an emergency session of the High Council." Athena sighed, running her fingers through her dark curls, which now shimmered with subtle metallic highlights, another side effect of her pregnancy. "Let me guess, he's still trying to invalidate our marriage?" "Worse," Talon replied grimly. "He's claiming that your quantum tunneling experiment wasn't an accident. He's accusing you of being an Earth spy who deliberately infiltrated the royal family." "That's ridiculous." Athena stood up, wincing slightly as the baby responded to her agitation with a flutter of movement. My research was purely theoretical until the accident. I had no idea your people even existed. You and I know that, but Helios has gathered quite a following. Many of the older houses fear change, and our union represents the biggest change in Celestian history. Before Athena could respond, the room's crystal walls pulsed with an urgent red light. Queen Asteria's holographic form materialized before them. Athena, Talon, come quickly. The Queen's usually serene face showed clear worry. Earth's military installations are powering up. They're interpreting our ship's presence as a potential invasion. They rushed to the palace's strategic command center, where King Orion stood before a massive holographic display of Earth. Red dots indicated military installations going into high alert status, while blue markers showed the positions of Celestian vessels. This is exactly what Helios wanted, Talon growled. Earth's aggressive response will only support his claims that humans aren't ready for contact. Athena stepped forward, studying the tactical display. Let me speak to them, she said. I'm still human, mostly, and I'm a respected scientist. They might listen to me. King Orion shook his head. Too dangerous. We've detected 3 separate assassination attempts planning to target you in the past week alone. What? Athena's hand instinctively went to her stomach. The baby kicked strongly, as if responding to the threat. Helios's supporters, Talon explained, his voice tight with rage. They've been trying to eliminate both you and our child before the prophecy can be fulfilled. Then we need to act fast, Athena insisted. Every minute we wait, Earth moves closer to panic, and Helios's faction grows stronger. Let me establish communication through MIT, my old colleagues will vouch for me. After intense discussion, a plan was formed. Athena would broadcast from the safety of the palace, using quantum entanglement technology to ensure instant, secure communication with Earth. But as they prepared the transmission, alarms blared through the palace once again. Security breach in the medical wing, a guard announced. Someone has accessed Dr. Rodriguez's genetic samples. Talon's face darkened. The traitor must have realized they can't get to you directly. They're trying to prove your DNA was artificially modified. Let them, Athena said firmly. Any genuine analysis will show that the changes to my quantum signature happened naturally through my experiment. In fact, her eyes lit up with sudden inspiration. This might be exactly what we need. Working quickly, Athena connected her original research data from the quantum tunneling experiment to the palace's main computer. As she suspected, the accident that brought her to the Viridian station had fundamentally altered her quantum state in a way that perfectly complemented Celestian biology. Look at this, she pointed to the complex data streams. The quantum resonance pattern, it's almost identical to the one we used to stabilize the floating cities. My experiment didn't just bring me here, it prepared me for this moment. As if to confirm her discovery, the baby chose that moment to release a pulse of energy that briefly illuminated Athena's skin from within, casting rainbow patterns across the crystal walls. The guard's weapons automatically deactivated, responding to the unique quantum signature. By the 3 moons, Queen Asteria breathed. The child already has control over quantum fields. This is unprecedented. Before they could fully process this development, the tactical display flashed urgently. Earth's military had begun targeting protocols for the Celestian ships. We're out of time, Athena said, moving to the communication array. Broadcast on all frequencies, both Earth and Celestian. Her image appeared on screens and holographic displays across both worlds. Against the backdrop of the Crystal Palace, her slightly iridescent skin and the visible evidence of her pregnancy made a striking image. People of Earth, citizens of Celestia, I am Dr. Athena Rodriguez. 3 months ago, I was a quantum physicist at MIT, working on theoretical spacetime manipulation. Today, I stand before you as living proof that our species are not meant to remain separate. She explained her accidental journey, her relationship with Talon, and the miraculous child they had created. She shared the data showing how quantum physics had built a bridge between their species, and how that same science had saved Celestia's floating cities. This is not an invasion or a deception, she concluded. This is evolution. This is progress. This is love transcending the boundaries of worlds. And if you look closely at the quantum data, you'll see it's also destiny. Our civilizations were always meant to find each other. My child is not an aberration, it's the first step toward a future we can build together. As she spoke, Lord Helios and his supporters burst into the command center, brandishing weapons. But they froze in shock as Athena's skin began to glow with the same iridescence as pure celestian crystal, the child within her emanating waves of quantum energy that made the very air shimmer. The prophecy, Queen Asteria announced, her voice carrying authority that silenced even Helios's protests. A bridge between stars, born of two worlds, wielding the power of both. Not just the child, but the mother as well. On the tactical display, Earth's military installations began powering down. The scientific community, led by Athena's former colleagues at MIT, was already confirming her quantum data. Messages of support and fascination began pouring in from both planets. Talon pulled Athena into his arms as she finished the broadcast, his aurora eyes swirling with pride and love. "You never cease to amaze me," he whispered. "Someone once told me that nothing is impossible," she replied with a tired smile. "Just improbable until you change the underlying quantum states." But even as Earth and Celestia began their first tentative steps toward diplomatic relations, Athena caught sight of Lord Helios's face as he was led away by guards. His expression promised that this was far from over. The bridge between worlds had been built, but there were still those who would try to tear it down. The baby kicked again, sending another ripple of quantum energy through the room. Athena placed both hands on her stomach, feeling the power growing within. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them with the strength of two worlds flowing through her veins. After all, she hadn't just broken the laws of physics, she had rewritten them. The Grand Assembly Hall of Celestia sparkled like a massive geode, its crystalline walls reflecting the tension in the room. Representatives from Earth sat on one side, a mix of diplomats, scientists, and military officials, their eyes wide with barely concealed wonder. The Celestian High Council occupied the other side, their iridescent skin shimmering with various metallic hues, their aurora eyes swirling with emotion. At the center of it all stood Athena, now 6 months pregnant, her body glowing with an otherworldly radiance that seemed to intensify daily. The child within her had grown remarkably, its unique genetic makeup manifesting in ways that astonished both human and Celestian medical experts. "The terms of this proposed alliance are unacceptable," Admiral Jensen of Earth Space Command declared, his voice echoing through the chamber. "You expect us to share our quantum research, yet you withhold your advanced technology? Your species is not ready for such power," Lord Helios responded coldly. Though under investigation for the assassination attempts, he had maintained enough political influence to attend the negotiations. Dr. Rodriguez's reckless experiment proves this. She nearly caused a catastrophic quantum cascade that could have torn apart the fabric of spacetime. Athena stepped forward, her movement causing ripples of quantum energy to dance across the crystal walls. "My experiment succeeded precisely because humans are ready. We achieved through innovation what Celestians developed over millennia. Together, we could progress faster than either civilization could alone." "Pretty words from a traitor to her species," muttered one of the Earth generals, not quite quietly enough. "Careful," Talon warned, moving protectively closer to Athena. "You speak of the mother of my child and future queen of Celestia." The tension in the room ratcheted higher. The announcement of Athena's elevation to royal status had been controversial on both worlds. Humans feared she would prioritize Celestian interests, while many Celestians still considered her an primitive outsider. Suddenly, Athena gasped, doubling over. The baby was kicking, but this time something was different. Waves of quantum energy pulsed from her body, stronger than ever before. The crystal walls resonated in response, singing in frequencies that made both humans and Celestians cover their ears. Athena. Talon caught her as she stumbled. Through the haze of discomfort, Athena's scientific mind raced. The quantum frequencies, they weren't random. They were forming a pattern, interacting with the crystal architecture in a way she'd never seen before. "Look," she managed to say, pointing at the ceiling. The crystal dome above them had begun to transform. Complex mathematical equations appeared in glowing light, spinning in three-dimensional space. Both human and Celestian scientists stared in awe as they recognized fragments of their own research combined in ways they'd never imagined. "It's beautiful," breathed Dr. Patel, one of Earth's leading quantum physicists. "The mathematical harmony between our two approaches to quantum mechanics, it's perfect." The child, Queen Asteria, spoke, her voice filled with wonder. "It's showing us the path forward. A true bridge between our sciences, just as it is a bridge between our species." The baby kicked again, and new equations bloomed across the ceiling. Athena understood with sudden clarity. "It's not just showing us theories, it's showing us practical applications. Look, there's the solution to stabilizing long-term quantum tunnels. And there, a way to extend the range of Celestian crystal technology using Earth's particle physics principles." "Impossible," Lord Helios declared, but his voice lacked conviction as he stared at the mathematical proofs floating above them. No single being could comprehend such advanced concepts, let alone an unborn child. "That's exactly the point," Athena said, straightening with Talon's support. "Our child isn't just combining our DNA, it's combining our knowledge, our perspectives, our potential. It can see solutions we miss because it isn't limited by either human or Celestian thinking." The equations continued to expand, filling the dome with a galaxy of mathematical innovation. Human and Celestian scientists alike were frantically recording the information, their previous hostility forgotten in the face of such revolutionary discoveries. Admiral Jensen cleared his throat. Perhaps we were too hasty in our judgment. This demonstration suggests that cooperation between our species could yield unprecedented benefits." "Indeed," King Orion agreed, his golden skin glowing with pride as he watched his future grandchild's display of power. "It seems we must re-evaluate our position on technology sharing." But not everyone was convinced. Lord Helios slipped away from the chamber, his face dark with purpose. Athena caught his departure and felt a chill despite the warmth of the quantum energy surrounding her. She knew he wouldn't give up easily, in fact, he might become even more dangerous now that his political options were running out. As if sensing her concern, the baby released another pulse of energy, this one forming a protective field around her. Talon's hand found hers, their fingers intertwining as they watched their child's power bring their two worlds closer together. "We need to be careful," she whispered to him. "Helios will make one final move, I'm sure of it." "Let him try," Talon replied, his aurora eyes fierce with determination. "We've faced every other challenge together. Whatever comes next, we'll face that too." The diplomatic session continued late into the night, with both sides drafting preliminary agreements for cultural and scientific exchange. The child's quantum display had broken through barriers that months of traditional negotiation couldn't touch. Yet even as hope for the future grew stronger, so did the shadow of those who opposed it. In his private chambers, Lord Helios activated a secure communication channel. "Proceed with the final protocol," he ordered. "If we cannot prevent this abomination through legal means, we must take more decisive action. The purity of our race depends on it." Back in the Grand Assembly Hall, Athena felt the baby grow quiet, as if gathering strength for challenges yet to come. She placed both hands on her stomach, sending loving thoughts to the remarkable being within. Their child had already changed the course of two civilizations, but its greatest test, and perhaps its greatest triumph, still lay ahead. As the three moons of Celestia aligned once again in the night sky, casting their tricolored light through the crystal dome, Athena looked at the gathered representatives of both worlds. In their faces, she saw fear, hope, wonder, and possibility. The bridge between stars had been built. Now they just had to defend it. The ancient crystal birthing chamber hummed with energy as Athena's labor intensified. 7 months into her pregnancy, full term for a hybrid child, she lay on a bed of living crystal that responded to her every movement. The walls pulsed with her contractions, filling the room with waves of soft, healing light. Talon hadn't left her side for hours, his aurora eyes swirling with concern and love as he held her hand. Queen Asteria stood nearby, leading the traditional birthing ceremony, while Earth doctors worked alongside Celestian healers in unprecedented cooperation. But something was wrong. The quantum readings are off the scale, Dr. Patel announced, studying the monitoring equipment. The child's energy signature is destabilizing the local space-time field. Athena could feel it. Each contraction released pulses of quantum energy that made reality itself shiver around them. The baby was struggling, caught between two worlds in more ways than one. "We need to stabilize the quantum field," she gasped between contractions, her scientist's mind still working despite the pain. "The same way we stabilized the floating cities." Before anyone could respond, the chamber's crystal doors exploded inward. Lord Helios strode through the debris, flanked by armed supporters. His copper skin had darkened to a dangerous bronze, and his eyes blazed with fanatical purpose. "This abomination cannot be allowed to live," he declared, raising a weapon that hummed with deadly energy. "The prophecy ends here." Talon moved to shield Athena, but another contraction hit, the strongest yet. The quantum surge knocked everyone off their feet. The baby was coming, and it was bringing a storm of cosmic energy with it. Through the chaos, Athena's mind raced. The quantum fluctuations, Helios's weapon, the crystal chamber, suddenly, she understood. "Talon," she grabbed his hand, "help me up." "You can't," he began, but she cut him off. "Trust me. I know what our child needs." With tremendous effort, Athena stood, one hand gripping Talon's arm, the other pressed against her belly. She faced Helios directly. "You want to stop the prophecy?" she challenged. "You're too late. It's already fulfilled. Look." She gestured to the walls, where equations were appearing spontaneously in quantum light, the child's final gift before entering the world. But these weren't just mathematical formulas. They were the original Celestian prophecies, translated into pure quantum mathematics. "A bridge between stars," Queen Asteria read, her voice filled with awe. "Not just metaphorically, but literally. The child isn't just combining our species, it's creating a new quantum harmony between them." Helios faltered, his weapon wavering. "Impossible." "That's what everyone said about human Celestian hybrids," Athena smiled through her pain. "About quantum tunneling. About love spanning the gulf between stars. But here we are." Another contraction hit, and this time Athena didn't fight the quantum surge. Instead, she embraced it, using her understanding of both human physics and Celestian crystal technology to guide the energy. The chamber responded, its crystals resonating in perfect harmony with the child's power. Helios fired his weapon in desperate rage, but the quantum field around Athena deflected the blast. The energy rebounded, transforming as it passed through the hybrid quantum space. When it struck Helios, instead of destroying, it revealed, showing his own DNA structure, already beginning to evolve through exposure to human quantum patterns. "You see?" Athena's voice was strained but triumphant. "Change isn't something you can stop. It's already happening to all of us." The guard burst in, finally alerted to Helios's attack, but it was already over. The once proud lord slumped in defeat, staring at his own transformed genetic structure displayed in quantum light on the crystal walls. Then everything else faded away as the final stage of labor began. Athena returned to the crystal bed, Talon's hand clasped tightly in hers. The room filled with a blinding light as their child finally entered the universe it had already begun to change. Their daughter was perfect. Her skin shifted between human tones and subtle iridescence, and her eyes held the aurora of Celestian genetics but sparkled with human determination. When she cried her first cry, the sound carried harmonic frequencies that made the crystal chamber sing. "Nova," Athena whispered, touching her daughter's cheek. "Her name is Nova." "Perfect," Talon agreed, tears flowing freely down his silvery cheeks. A new star born from the union of two worlds. The news spread quickly across both Earth and Celestia. The first human Celestian child had been born, healthy and more powerful than anyone could have imagined. But more importantly, her birth had proven something fundamental about both species: they were not meant to remain separate, but to grow together. In the days that followed, Nova's presence catalyzed changes throughout both societies. The quantum harmonics she had revealed during her birth led to breakthroughs in unified field theory, revolutionizing both human and Celestian science. The crystalline architecture of Celestia began responding to human quantum patterns, while Earth's technology evolved to incorporate Celestian principles. 1 month after Nova's birth, Athena stood with Talon on their private balcony in the Crystal Palace. Their daughter slept peacefully in her floating crib, occasionally causing small quantum light shows in her dreams. Below them, the first human settlement on Celestia was under construction, a combination of Earth architecture and Celestian crystal technology. "Do you ever miss your old life?" Talon asked softly. "Being just a quantum physicist from Earth?" Athena smiled, her skin shimmering slightly in the light of the 3 moons. "I'm still a quantum physicist. I'm still from Earth. I've just become more than that, like both our species are becoming more than they were." She turned to face her husband, seeing in his aurora eyes the same love that had sparked between them on the Viridian station. "Besides," she added, "some equations can only be solved by adding new variables." Nova stirred in her sleep, releasing a gentle pulse of quantum energy that made the crystal walls hum in harmony. In that moment, Athena knew with certainty that her accidental journey through quantum space had been no accident at all. The universe itself had conspired to bring 2 worlds together, using the most powerful force known in any galaxy: love. As the 3 moons aligned once again in the lavender sky, their tricolored light fell on mother, father, and child, a family that embodied the future of 2 civilizations. The bridge between stars had not only been built, it had been made permanent by the birth of a child who carried the best of both worlds in her very atoms. And somewhere in the vast quantum web that connected all things, new possibilities were already stirring, waiting to be discovered by the next generation of explorers, human, Celestian, and everything in between.